Welcome to the Amazon Legends podcast, where we have real stories about making it big on Amazon. Our guests are CEOs of large companies and entrepreneurs who became powerful sellers, also experts specializing in helping sellers, and both former and current Amazon employees who will give us an insight from behind the scenes. Here's your host, Nick Urison.
Welcome to another episode of Amazon Legends. Today I have a designer, inventor, engineer, and a mentor with a passion in multiple industries. And he's the quintessential entrepreneur and the owner of Halpin Solutions. So everybody meet my guest, Sean Halpin. Welcome to the show, Sean.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Thank you.
It's a total honor.
You know, you keep inventing all this stuff. You bury yourself with these inventions, and I don't know how you find time to come here, but I'm glad to have you.
Oh, believe me, my list of things to do is this long, and they're all over here right now.
Yeah, and it always gets longer, right?
Oh, it's never ending. I always joke around. It's like there's never nothing to do.
Yeah, exactly. So I have an interesting showing, so to speak, to your story. So you created something about 10 years ago and forgot all about it. And recently, and thanks to your daughter, it's not like you're doing this. This is your daughter. She said, oh, I think I'm going to do something with this. And now it's a hot product. So tell us, Sean, what is that?
Yeah, So years and years ago, I was training for a marathon, right? And I was running around the upper deck of the Superior Rink in Michigan at Fraser. And I noticed on the banners as I was running, there was one name up there, and his name was Tim Zimmerman. And I noticed that there was like state champion after state champion after state champion after state champion because I'm running for hours, right, while my kids are training. And I noticed there's one guy's name. And I thought, gosh, this guy is such a good coach. You know, what does he do that's so different? And then one day I was running up and down the stairs and I looked down on the ice and these kids had this square block of steel on their skates. And
so you're talking about ice hockey though, right?
Yeah. Yep. So
when you say running,
I was training. I was running inside a stadium.
Oh, okay.
And they were playing hockey down on the ice.
I see. So you're doing laps.
Yep.
And they are training on the rink and you're seeing the
game.
Okay, I see. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So I'm training for my first marathon. I think I did that when I was 40, and that was like my 40 thing, right?
That's like last year, right?
A couple of years ago. Okay. And so I saw down on the ice, these kids had this square block and it was Velcroed around on their skates. And I said, hey, who's your coach? And they said, Tim Zimmerman. And I was like, what? Tim Zimmerman? He's got the secret sauce. I was like, he's got 13 state championships. And this was years and years ago. And so I reached out to Tim. I said, hey, Tim, I said, you're an amazing coach. You've got the secret sauce. What is it that makes your team win every single year? And he said, my teams work harder. They use these steel blocks that I make in my garage, and we put them on their skates, and every practice they skate harder than every other team. And that's why we're winning. And I was like, geez, Tim, like I'm a designer. I'm working on the Ford Mustang right now. I've got, I'm working on the body. We're in the studio. I said, I want to take your steel block and I want to turn it into something that's really super appealing, aerodynamic, cool, something the kids want on their skates, right? And I want you to be I want you to be the spokesman for the product. I want to launch you and your idea into the world. And he's like, okay, cool, let's do it, So I spent some time and I took his square steel block and I redesigned it. And this is what it looks like right now. So this right here, at one time, was a steel block. And so I took something similar to the Ford Mustang hood scoop right here, and I put that on there. And then I took something similar to the Polaris Razor features that are on the quad, because we do design those also. So I combined a couple design features on this product, and we created a 1/2 pound weight for the younger kids, and this is for the pros, right? College and high school. And so we launched it. And so I created them, I designed them, I engineered them, I pulled them in, and we gave them to teams to test. And I put them on a website, and then I put them on Amazon.
So when you say, hold on, back up. So when you say we launched it, what does that launch look like? Where did you launch? Just on your website, or how did that play out?
We first created the website to give it some brand identity. And then I created an Amazon store, which for another product earlier, but I just put them on Amazon. And I thought if parents are looking for strengthening for their children, these should come up, you know? So we started to sell and I had a design and engineering business and I had 50 people on my payroll, and this was just a project going on the side. And so we started to sell 1 a week, then 2 a week, then 5 a week, and then 10 a week. And they started to get out there. They were trickling, but nothing to change anybody's life, you know? And so then my daughter graduated with a degree in entrepreneur. And so she agreed to come and work with me and help me launch my products while I was designing cars. We designed cars for Ram trucks, for Ford F-150, Ford Mustang, Peterbilt, Polaris, Harley Davidson. We did design work for all these companies. And so she was in the background growing this business, and we were kind of struggling getting it launched. And then I logged in and took a 20-minute watched a 20-minute video how to advertise on Facebook. So I went through the clicks, I followed the guy's video and I clicked it and made my first Facebook ad. Mm-hmm. And I launched it, I think with like a $30 a day budget. And in the first week, we sold $5,000 of a piece of steel with a Velcro strap on it. So,
and these sales are taking place on your website or on Amazon?
On Amazon.
So you created, so I want to stop here because I want to dig a little bit into this. When you launched it, first of all, you cut a deal with this coach. Did you have some kind of like a branding? Did you have endorsement from him, his name in the brand, anything like that?
Yeah. So he got involved and I interviewed him, and we made a video of me talking about how he came up with it and how it works and how effective it is. And he was able to, convince me that he did have the secret sauce. And so he became the face of the product for a while. And then, things kind of changed and he faded off. And then my daughter and I took it, and we're still friends, but he didn't want anything, he was too busy doing other things, so he couldn't work with me.
Did you name the product after him or just a standalone?
The product is called Power Skater. So it's not 2 words. So the word power, SK, the number 8R, Power Skater. Okay. So that is the brand of the product that is known throughout the country and North America, and we're in Canada now.
So when you listed it on Amazon, did you use him as part of your content, your keywords? And like that?
No, he was just in the background selling around locally and promoting them with teams in Southern Michigan.
So the reason I'm asking is because when you started to get business, because this is a brand new product, nobody knows anything about it. Right. The brand that you created, nobody knows about. So it's a brand new brand, brand new product that the whole world is going to know for the first time, and you're getting exposure. So that has to be something to do with the description of the item, because it's not this guy that's driving your traffic, right?
No, right.
Okay. Then the other thing that you did strategically, when you created your Facebook campaign, you didn't send it to your website. You sent it to your Amazon listing.
Yes, I put it on Amazon. And then I believe it or not, one of my most successful advertising avenues was USA Hockey Magazine, a paper magazine. So USA Hockey Magazine goes to every hockey player, every coach, every parent in the country. So I found a very specific audience for a product, which every kid in the country gets. And I was scared to spend $3,000 a month on advertising. And then in the next fall, I'm like, all right, I'm going to spend only $3,000 on advertising. And boom, it just went. And then I saw 12,000 in sales, and then 20,000 in a month in sales, and then 50,000 in a month in sales.
From the magazine ad.
From the magazine ad.
Wow.
Yep.
Did that magazine also have an online version?
Yeah. The online version went directly to my website. But when people type in the word power SK8R, it pops up on top in the search engine and it takes them to Amazon.
Yes.
And when they got to Amazon, they could see 80 reviews from parents. And every parent was like, oh my gosh, my kid became the fastest kid on the team in 90 days. Oh my gosh, I did a stopwatch check. He did a lap around the rink before he put them on. And then he did another lap around the rink after 90 days, and he had a 25% increase in speed. So those stories are on the Amazon page in the recommendations, right? And they just started to spread and spread and spread and spread. And then we have a pro team, the Thunderbirds out of North Carolina, that are using them. And we've got my first kid, who, it's the funniest video. The father made a video when I sent the product to them 5 years ago. And so these two kids in Arizona, Ryan and Aiden Nichols, started using these products. And they quickly became the fastest kids on their team, and then used them for, I'm not sure how long, but Ryan just finished a week at the NHL Combine training in the youth NHL development program. So he's a power skater kid, and he's one of the kids that I'm super proud of, because he, extra training and hard work does work. I wish I knew that when I was a kid like I do now. But so yeah, I've got one of my first users that's now being scouted from all over North America and Canada right now.
Wow, all because of this little thing
little thing.
And frankly, it goes back to your running, right? So this means that running is a good thing, because you get to come up.
Running is a good thing. You get a lot of time to think about things, and I think I've made more decisions about my life while I was running than doing anything else.
Well, it clears your mind, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It gets rid of stress. So it's a whole body workout. So it's,
yeah. So it clears your mind, and it puts motivational, energetic things in your mind.
And also psychological, right? Because running is tough, and how do you keep going? So it's all about mental strength. So tell me about the part that your daughter played. So when she graduated, she started to do this, or how did that initial start? Well, let's do something with this.
Right. So she had a lot of energy, and she loved being an entrepreneur, and she loved being involved in products that nobody else had. And so we moved to California. We moved out to Dana Point, her and I, and we worked together there for a couple of years. And she built the website. She did a lot of the videos that are on the website. I taught her how to do the Facebook ads, and she got pretty good at that. And so yeah, she was kind of doing my small business product development stuff while I was designing, car parts remotely in my living room for Harley Davidson.
I see. Okay. So her degree came in handy.
Yeah. She was a young entrepreneur. She had her own business when she was 12. I taught her how to do magic when she was 12. And so she had shelbymagic.com. So she was making $50 an hour doing magic shows around town to 6-year-old and 5-year-old birthday parties as a 12-year-old, making $50 an hour. And I taught her how to do ventriloquism too. And she was way ahead of Jeff Dunham, man. I taught that girl how to do ventriloquism. So she would do a magic show in ventriloquism and make, 50 to 100, depending on tips an hour at 12. She actually had a float in a parade with ShelbyMagic.com. She's an entrepreneur also. And I'm just super proud of her. I love her to death.
Well, I mean, it sounds like she was an entrepreneur naturally.
Yeah. She always had that. I remember when she got a job as a lifeguard and she came to me and said, Dad, I have to work 8 hours to make as much money as I did when I was doing magic. And I was like, so what would you rather do? Sit in a lifeguard stand watching kids pretend they're drowning in a pool? Or would you rather do magic and make $50 to $100 an hour? It's like, you're old enough now, you can decide what you want to do.
So I want to take you back to the beginning, because when you and I connected and then we had a conversation about how you started. So you took me back to how this whole thing started, right, which was post-financial meltdown. Yes. So that you were sitting in the office. So tell me that story, because that's the origin of your starting your Amazon account, right?
Yeah. And the reason this is important is that for Amazon people is that you don't always have to start with something somebody else created. Okay. You can create your own products in your living room on your sewing machine and put them on Amazon. So what happened was I was really into the nutrition of the NutriBullet. The NutriBullet is the blender so I put frozen bananas and strawberries in the blender, and I would put it on my cup holder in my car, and I'd get to work and there's a big puddle in my car. I'm like, I take it into my office and I take my Red Wing Power, my NutriBullet, and I'd put it on my desk and there would be a big puddle there. And I was like, man, I need a NutriBullet koozie, right? And so I jumped on Amazon and I searched for a NutriBullet koozie, a NutriBullet jacket, a NutriBullet holder, and there wasn't one. And so then I went to Yahoo, I went to Bing, I went to Google. I started searching for an item that would hold my container so I wouldn't make a mess everywhere I went. And there wasn't one. So my girl that worked with me, Beth Rushke, that I've known her for years and years and years, she's a really good seamstress. So I said, Beth, I'm going to order 6 colors of neoprene. I'm going to order 2 yards. And we're going to make a flat pattern and we're going to cut it out just on the table. So we had 3 sizes. So we had a 12, 24, and 32 ounce containers, and we had 6 colors. So that gave us 18 variations. So I logged into Amazon and I created my store. I put my business ID up there, my tax ID. I got all the information up there, corporate records and everything else they needed. And I created a store for the Amazon koozie. So I created this page that had a NutriBullet koozie, and it had 18 variations, and I put it on Amazon. I never did anything on Amazon before, but I just wanted to know how to create a store. So I created with something that cost me a dime, and I put it on Amazon for $3.50. Because I just wanted to learn the experience of Amazon and how could I do something with a company that's so large. I started with something very fundamental and simple. So we just sat back and walked away, and then Beth comes running in. We got an order. And I'm like, what? Somebody bought one? The next week, we had 2 orders. I was like, we sold 2 this week for $3.50, right? It's like big deal, right? But we learned how to create a product. We learned how to package it. We learned how to get it on Amazon. We learned how to create all the variations. We learned how to do the Amazon shipping and good timing. And we learned basically everything you need to know for every product. So then the next week there was 10 orders for Amazon for NutriBullet koozies. And then the next week there was 20 for Amazon koozies.
And you're doing the shipping yourself?
Yeah, we were shipping them right from my office in little USPS prepaid envelopes, and shipping out part for $350 that cost us $250, right? And it was just really more of a learning curve for us. So that was before the Power Skater story, right? But what I want to encourage people to do is if you search for something on Amazon and you look for it on Google and you look for it on Bing and all the other places and you don't find it, there's other people are searching for it also. And there may be opportunity to create that product. So consider creating a product that you can't find, because if you're searching for it, other people will be also. So then what happened was I get a letter from the company that owns the word koozie. And they were threatening to sue me because they own the copyright trademark on that word, right? So I had to change the name from NutriBullet Koozie to NutriBullet Juicer Jacket or something like that, right? And then I showed them that I changed my name and they went away. But so I want to encourage people to be careful with the words they use and how they use them, and to check to see if they're trademarked, because I found out the hard way through a lawyer that I was using a word that I shouldn't have used.
Well, this actually is obviously, it's not something you want to have. It brings legal troubles if it's a serious one. But it's also good news, because if somebody gets to find out that you're doing this, clearly that means you have visibility.
Right.
So I had a similar situation. I launched an e-commerce site. This is many years ago, like 20 years ago. And I saw an image, not really anything significant, on a website that I thought, oh, this is a nice image. And I decided to use it as an icon on the homepage. And sure enough, and I was also running a Google Ads campaign. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm not kidding, the first day that website went up with that little icon, in the afternoon, I get a phone call from a guy. Says, I work for such and such company, and I'm the vice president of operations, and I've been told that you're using one of our images, mm-hmm. and I need you to take it down. And I said, oh my God, which image? And then when he told me, I said, don't worry, I'll take it down right away. But really, you make me so happy. And he goes, why? He says, well, if you found it, obviously other people are finding it. So it's not, they're not finding it because of the image, they're finding it because of what's on the site, which means the site has visibility. So it was good news. For me, I took it as good news.
Now, it did happen again a few years later. I worked with a company called Iconic Motors. My friend Claudio Ballater from New York came to us to develop a whole car for him. And we developed the car. He took it to Pebble Beach. He launched it on the 18th green. It was a big, big event. He had our vehicle design on the 18th green at Pebble Beach. And so he gave me some artwork to put on my website, which is Halpin Solutions, HALPIN solutions.com. And so I had some pictures of his vehicle on my website, and I got a letter from Getty Images. Mm-hmm. And Getty Images said, you're using a cloud image on your web page that is proprietary. And so I called my friend Claudio and I said, hey, can you send me the receipt that shows that you paid for that? And then I can, show them that I have permission to use it. And so he did. He had bought the image for, I think, $1,200. And he had the receipt that he paid for it. And he sent it to me and I showed it to them that it was paid for and I had permission, and then they went away.
Yeah. So these days, these things became so advanced because they can search, just like we search keywords, you can search images, and there are law firms. I actually met an attorney who works for a law firm that specializes in going after people who use images.
Yeah.
Unauthorized. So it's a big deal.
So if real quick, if you have an image that is very special to you and you're worried about it being copied or used, you can go to Google image search and you can put that image on Google and hit search, and it'll show you everywhere in the world on every website and everywhere it's being used. So you can find your own images if they're being copied or stolen.
And tell people how you put the image in search. You copy paste into the search bar?
Yeah, you go to the go to Google and type in Google image search, and then it says upload photo, and then you load your very special photo or logo or whatever it is, trademark, and then it'll run a search on the whole entire internet, and it'll find anybody that's using it on any Facebook page or any advertising or anything, and you'll see if it's been violated.
Great. Okay, so let's now dig into the Amazon aspect of it. So now you've got the, let's talk about the Power Skater, because that became a big success. So when you put the listing up, how did you start driving traffic to it? What are the things that you did? Walk us through it a little bit.
Okay, so I had three avenues, and this was before Instagram was getting bigger. Now I've got an Instagram account for Power Skater, but so I used Amazon advertising. I used the coupons, which are very, very effective, and I used the USA Hockey Magazine. So I had 3 channels of advertising, and all 3 of them kind of pointed itself back to Amazon. And some people would buy from my website, but most people would buy from Amazon, because of the reputation and return, policies and things.
And so, how did you assemble the content? Because that plays a big role. Pictures, videos, and things like that. How did you go about doing that?
Well, I mean, probably the most effective picture is one day in probably 2017. I just logged into Amazon to look at my product for some reason, to read the content, and I noticed that we had a banner. We had a banner on my product, #1 on Amazon.
Amazon choice
in hockey. So I looked at it, and it said #1 product in hockey. And I was like, oh my God, quick, get a JPEG of that. You'll pull that in, because I didn't know how long it was going to be up there.
Sure.
So I got the banner on my product of the #1 selling product on Amazon in hockey. And I grabbed that image, and it was up there for the 2019 19 and 20 season. And so when I started sharing that banner with the #1 selling product in hockey, boom, it was gone.
So it puts confidence in people, of course.
Yeah. When they see that banner on there, they're like, wow, must be amazing.
That's great. So you use 3 sources of advertising to drive traffic.
Yep.
And you leveraged Amazon's banner that shows as #1. And did you put that as part of your images? That's what was it became one of the product images.
Well, I created an image with the product on a hockey skate, and then I put the #1 selling gold star image banner on it, and I put that on as one of the image on my site.
I see. Okay.
And it was true, so they had to leave it.
So all this happened in 2017?
16, 17, 18, yeah.
Okay. And it's still selling, of course.
Yeah. It's seasonal. The sales start picking up in July, and then it picks up through, August, September, November, December, and then it starts scaling down January, February, March, and then it will slow down in the summer and pick up again. So it's a seasonal product.
Okay, so this is actually a good segue to one of my questions. So how do you prepare for the demand that you get? So tell us about, because you're producing this. Where do you produce this?
I have a person that works for me in Shenzhen, and every time I run out of inventory, I am a full believer in the U.S. manufacturing and the U.S. process. I contact casting companies around the country and ask them for a quote on my product. And all the casting companies in the United States tell me the same thing. They all say it's going to take 8 weeks. And I'm like, well, I want them done in the United States. I can get them in 8 weeks from China. So why does it take you 8 weeks as a U.S. manufacturing company creating a casting for my product? I want them in 2. I want 6,000 parts in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And they're like, well, that's our process. And we go to China. So all the US casting companies take products like mine and they go to China and get them. So they said, we can't do them here. And here's your price. So this is a tough one for people because we all want to support the United States. Unfortunately, a lot of guys like myself that are investing their own money cannot produce products in the United States and be competitive. So I got quotes from 7, 8 companies. Every time I try and do a new order, I try and get a quote from a US company, and their prices are 5 times more than I pay coming out of Shenzhen. It's a very, very simple product. It's a steel casting that's powder coated and it has a Velcro strap. And so as bad as and hard as I want to be patriotic to US manufacturing, we can't.
Yeah.
We can't do it. I want to, let people know that we try to do things here, but everything won't come back. It won't. It's 5 times less expensive to get it out of Shenzhen. And I've got a person that works for me there to get, the products that I can't get manufactured there. And she keeps an eye on my factories and my product and my quality. And without her, I don't know if I would even be in business. So if you're thinking about doing manufacturing in China, you need a person there to walk into the plants and make sure your stuff is moving.
Mm-hmm. So how do you plan when you are doing because demand planning is key to this. So your sales continue. Yeah. So how do you, what are the considerations that you make when you're planning how many pieces to manufacture?
Well, I look at how many products I'm selling per month, right? And then I look at my inventory. And then typically I'll place another order in June or July that will be here in August or September. So I know that I have to plan at least 90 days or more now with logistics and all the freighters sitting out in Long Beach. I have to plan more than 90 days to get inventory here. So, I kind of watch the sales and the momentum, and right now I'm getting ready to run another order. We just sold out in Canada. I started selling on Amazon.ca this year, and we sold out. We sold out right now. My brother Marty is in charge of my fulfillment and shipping out of North Carolina, and he's preparing another crate on a pallet to go to up to Hamilton in Canada for distribution in Amazon.ca.
So do you use a 3PL company or do you have your own distribution warehouse kind of?
We have our own.
So you don't use a third party company?
No, I haven't. I haven't used a third party other than Amazon does in Canada does my only fulfillment by Amazon. Everything else is done by merchant.
So that's my next question. So you don't use fulfillment by Amazon. You're doing your own fulfillment.
Right.
Any particular reason why you chose to do your own fulfillment?
The margins are a bit better, and I can keep my family employed and help them with make some extra money doing shipping and handling for me. So my brother and his 2 kids, they all take turns packing skate weights and other products to ship around the country, and they make a little bit of money, and they got some fun money.
I see. Okay, because I was surprised when you said margins are better, because usually what you pay for shipping individual orders, usually it's more expensive than what Amazon charges in fulfillment.
Well, the thing is, right, because I'm selling something that's heavy, the freight cost is more.
I see.
So I can use a prepaid envelope for $7 and ship 2, 4, 5 pounds of skate weights for the same price. And if somebody orders a team order from me, it's going to be about 200 pounds. Okay. And if I can fit those in a prepaid box at the US Postal, it's $19 to ship it. So because of the prepaid shipping boxes that they provide, I can put up to 50 pounds in one box and they'll ship it for $20.
So you must be a good customer of the United States Postal Service.
Yeah, we do a lot of business with them.
Yeah. And they appreciate that, don't they? Because they are bleeding all the time. So
well, it's good and it's bad. It's The last couple of years, what happens is the postal carriers, they don't like my product.
Because
So
it's heavy.
the ones that walk on their feet and carry the product in bags, they hate me.
Yeah.
Right. So one winter, we got over 20 customers that received an envelope with the shipping notification with the box cut off and an empty envelope. So the U.S. postal workers would cut the envelope, dump the product out, scan the barcode, put it on the porch, take a picture of it, and walk away. And so I started getting all these calls from people around the country. It's like, hey, here's a picture of my product. It didn't show up. I'm like, oh, no. These postal carriers are dumping my product and delivering an empty envelope. So every time that happens, I have to file a claim, and very rarely do I ever get paid. I usually send another. And so we had to start like taping our boxes and envelopes. Like you would have to use a chainsaw to get in, right?
So I had a similar situation when I was a seller. We were one of in my district, we were the top customer for my post office. And you're right, the postal workers don't like it because we were shipping hundreds and hundreds of packages every day. And they gave us their bins and everything. And at the peak, we reached about 2,000 orders a day. So they were doing 2 pickups from us. And it was a lot of work because they had to organize their equipment. But the postmaster loved us. He would come. He became personal friend. Business.
Right.
But the postal workers we were selling fragrances and hair care and skincare stuff that people obviously like. And I actually uncovered something. What happened was they set up this scheme where they had one postal worker where the truck was being received with our stuff to be routed to wherever it was going to go. And they were actually taking stuff out of the boxes and then putting something else inside, something else being like paper and things like that.
Yeah.
Looked like sealed. And I had to complain, and they actually sent an inspector from Washington, D.C., but this is like after several complaints, because first that it gets ignored. And in the end, they uncovered this whole thing. It was a whole gang. It had nothing to do with my local post office, but wherever it was being routed to as the receiving depot to distribute, wherever the merchandise was going to go. And that's where the whole thing was taking place. So this does happen. So you have to stay on top of it.
So I did something about this. Okay. So there's a company called Route. It's Route. Let me just type in real quick and get the name of it. It's Route, route.com. And so I partnered up with Route, and when somebody checks out, not from Amazon, but from my website, they have an option to choose mail protection for 95 cents, right? So they pick the Route and they add another 95 cents into the bill. And if that product doesn't get there for any reason, then Route insures it. So now if an envelope shows up empty, then we contact route.com and then they pay for the next shipment.
I see. That's very useful information.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about your team. What does it take to run this Amazon operation? And describe the roles. What are the roles? Who does what?
I mean, I've been able to become automated without a lot of employees. Okay. So, all of my accounting is outsourced. All of my payroll is outsourced. All of my shipping is outsourced. All of my social media, advertising and marketing is all outsourced. So I'm typically with what we do with my products, have one or two people involved. That's about it.
How about, I mean, it's one thing to outsource, but, in the old days being when the offshoring became the next best thing, because, hourly rates were ridiculously low, right. Everybody started outsourcing stuff, but then they very quickly found that this doesn't work because those people need management. So you need a glue that keeps it all together, like the central processing unit. Who is that person?
Well, I'm the glue.
So you know what these people are doing at all times, and you are monitoring.
Yep. I got a guy that's Mike Carpenter that's helped me develop my websites and my Shopify stores. And I've got Eva Silva that does my copyright and all my technical writing and ad space blogs and press releases and things. And so they work for me and on and off helping me with things.
And then, what's your take on the analytics on your listing? Who tracks? If you do you track how your listings are performing, how they are converting? Because that's also a moving target all the time, right?
Yeah, it is. And we try and see what ads and what videos and what social media items get the most clicks to our website that lead to sales. And then, so we might have, 2 or 3 different ads running that are completely different. And then we'll see that one is outperforming the others. And then, so we'll stop running those other ads and then try and make one more similar to these that are running and producing. So you kind of got to watch, what's being successful, and don't put your money into, the products that are being searched for. They're use a random or odd search phrase is going to your product. You want to try and find your negative keywords and get those in the list so that, if somebody's looking for a 1 pound weight, they don't end up coming to my hockey product.
But so this is for advertising. What I'm talking about is on your Amazon listing, whether it's the advertising or people search organically and then your product comes up, they click on it, and ultimately they land on your listing page, your product page. Do you track what is the conversion rate on that page? Out of 100 people, how many people are converting?
Yeah, I mean,
because that is gold, right? Because if you increase the conversion, that goes straight to the bottom line, improves your advertising performance, and all it has to do is what's on that page that is getting the person to say, okay, I'm going to buy this. Do you track that?
I mean, it's kind of like sharpening a knife, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to build a knife, right, you're going to start off with a block of steel, and it's not going to cut anything.
Yeah.
And then when you start filing it, remove the layers of things that don't work, right, and the ads that don't work. And then you fine tune that blade, right? You want to keep fine tuning what works, what cuts into the audience, right? And eliminate the scrap and the shrapnel that's not producing, right? So it's really just, I don't pay close enough attention like I should, but I do look at it, very often, and it does help me fine tune my ad content.
So let me give you this perspective, because you are a very analytical person. So when I work with clients and then we are launching a listing, the ad campaign is something that I say, let's wait before we start spending money to see how your listing is converting, because you may put ads on Medium that will do really well. It's direct audience, people like it, and your ad copy is great. Your, everything that your creative works, and ultimately they'll land on the listing page. And if the listing is not converting, then you want to fix that first before you start pumping money in or increasing your budget. So as soon as you have a stabilized rate of conversion on the product page, then that is ready to start spending ad money and even scale. And of course, this is a moving target, so you have to keep tracking how my listings are converting. That's usually the recommendation I make, because if your conversion rate is, let's say, 25%, and then you increase that to 35%, that's a huge impact on your ROI for the whole ad campaign, on cash, because it goes straight to the bottom line. So that's usually my take. But you're right. It's very hard to track that because Amazon does not make that data available. You have to download reports every day and look at it and put it in perspective, and also tie it back to the events. Because if you change the picture, you want to know, okay, when I changed the picture, my conversion went up 5%, 10%. So those are the kinds of things that I always say, but it's tedious work.
Yeah. So I had to learn this the hard way, but I had a crazy experience with a golf product that I have. I love golf and I love hockey. I'm a skier, snowboarder. I love to surf, mountain bike. So I launched this golf product called Putt Anywhere, and I put it on Amazon. I got it all up there. It looked beautiful. And then when I went to search for it, it didn't show up. Like, it was like on the 30th page. Like, I typed in Putt Anywhere, that phrase, Putt anywhere, and it wouldn't show up. I'm like, I got a hold of Amazon. It's like, I just spent, $60,000 in tooling and parts and shipping, logistics and packaging, and it's on Amazon and nobody can even see it, right? How do I get it to show up? There's not another product with my name, like the Putt Anywhere phrase. There's not another product with that phrase in it, and mine is not showing up. So basically what I had to do was I had to create a network of people basically that would buy that product and leave a review. So until you have 15 to 20 reviews on your product, even if it's the only name on Amazon, it will not come to the front. So if you're going to launch a new product with a unique name, you got to figure out how to get reviews for that to show up on the first page. Now,
by the way, these days, Amazon is very strict about it. You can't do what you've done anymore.
I know that there's rules on how to do it.
Yeah.
And I did follow the rules. So I understand how that works.
Yeah. So this is great. So let's talk a little bit about you. So first of all, tell us about Sean Halpin. You said you live in California?
I do now. I'm in San Diego. Yeah, I keep coming back here.
So where did you grow up, and where did this invention idea come from? Tell us about the origin of your creativity.
I mean, my dad was a small business owner, and a lot of my friends' dads worked at big companies. And so I came home and saw and heard the stories and saw the value and benefits to my family from being a small business owner. So that's all I really knew. And so a lot of my friends that had their parents worked at big companies, they all went off and went to college, and then they got into big companies. And I always was an entrepreneur and wanted to do what my dad did, which was own his own company, right?
So did you what kind of entrepreneurial stuff did you do in school when you were a little kid?
So my very first project was I worked at a gym called Vic Tanny's, and there was one of the large gyms when I was in high school. And the guys that were coming in were big bodybuilders, and they were really into lifting properly, and they were paid a lot of money for these leather belts, these big leather belts that held their back so they could bench and not lose their back. And so I saw what they were paying for these leather belts. And so I ordered a whole entire side of a cow leather. And I took it home. Went down in my basement. I put some cardboard on the concrete. I put this sheet of this whole entire cow, this whole side of beef cow leather on the cardboard. And I traced the leather belt shape. And then I bought some buckles, and I learned in my art class how to do stamping on leather and create buckles and do riveting and things. And so then the owner let me bring my belts in and hang them on the rack at Vic Tanny. And then the big guys, they were like, hey, can you stamp, my company name in the back? Can you put a picture of a cobra on that? And so then I started customizing these belts for these guys. And it was not.
And how old were you when you were doing all this?
I was 14.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you were already an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you were doing production, right? You were doing production.
Yeah. I had a little mini assembly line. I had my little factory. I bought raw materials. I learned how to dye and color these leather belts. I learned how to get the buckles on, and I learned how to make them look as good or better than the ones they were buying from the stores for like, I don't know, $40 or something, And so that was, that was one of the first things I did. And then in between college, between high school and college, the summer in between, I needed to make money to pay for my college. I got a loan. I needed to pay the difference between the loan. So I bought some stencils of the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all through 0. And then I created a little banner that said, your home could be more safe if the police and fire department could see your address down on the curb at the end of your driveway, right? So I created this little banner. I drew it up in pencil, and I was trying to pay for my college, and I showed, a little picture of a fire truck out in front of a house. And so then I started I started painting numbers on the end of the driveway on the curb. So people would pay me $5 to paint the 4 numbers on the end of the curb with white paint, right? So here I was running around all these neighborhoods in Michigan with this little stencil kit, which cost me about $1, right? Mm-hmm. And I was making like $50 an hour painting numbers on curbs, right? So it's like, I don't know if I'm even going to make this when I get out of college, So if I needed money, my mom would say, go paint curbs. And off I'd go through my little neighborhood around in Troy, Michigan. And I'd go paint these 4 little numbers on the curbs at the end of the driveways. And I was making between $30 and $50 an hour every time I went out. So then I did that, along with a bunch of other jobs. And I also worked at my dad's printing shop. But so then I went to, got college and got my degree in automotive design and technical illustration. And I went and got a job, and I think I was making like $16 an hour right after my degree. That's like at the time, like $32,000 a year, which was pretty good for a college grad. And I was like my daughter. I'm like, wait a minute.
Why am I doing this? Right?
I was making $50 an hour painting numbers on curbs with no degree. And now I have a degree and I'm making $16 an hour. $32,000 a year with overtime, maybe 40, I don't know. But I went through the same, learning curve that she did, and so then of course that led to other things, and
so I wanna we're kind of coming up to the end of the show, and I wanna end with something that really inspired me when you and I first talked, and that's what basically gave birth to your NutriBullet product. But this was after the financial meltdown. You were sitting in your office with all the. So describe what were the circumstances and how it felt, and what happened.
Well, my industry in automotive design and engineering has been like a roller coaster, right? Up and down and up and down.
Always, yeah.
And we went, I built a design company in my basement. We started working on a door that was on a couple of workhorses. So I was sitting in one corner, and my buddy Rich Newman was sitting in another corner. And then another kid I hired, his name was Josh Vincent. We trained him how to do automotive design in my basement. And so he was working on a door, also. So we went from my basement to an office that held 6 people, to an office that held 12 people, to an office that held 25 people over the years. Mm-hmm. And then the stock market crashed, and I lost everybody. I lost my whole team. And so I was the only person sitting in my office with, paying rent for 25 cubicles to sit there. And I just thought, you know what? I'm never going to be caught in one industry with one product again in my life. And so from that moment on, I started developing my products. And now I've got 6 products on Amazon. I've got a hockey product, which is Power Skater. I've got a restaurant product, which is Grab It Products. I've got a music product, which is Guinness Picks. We've got a disc golf product, which is Disc Triever. And now we've got the stringlightcovers.com product, which is an overhead lighting product that I've got. So you've got the string lights that hang. Let's see, is that going to come into focus?
Yeah.
So you got your patio lights out back, right? And this is actually a sample that I'm sending to USC to get licensing approval. So this logo will illuminate on your patio in your backyard where you're sitting. So this is a product that I can promote to alumni, college alumni, and around the country. So notice it says SUC.
Yeah.
You cannot send a product with USC on it to get approval for licensing. Mm-hmm. If you send a product in with USC on it, you're in violation of licensing.
Wow.
So I had to move the letters around, and I'm going to ship this over there in like next week. And this is my latest project, which is string light covers. And I'm going to be starting in Southern California, getting licensing from USC, UCSD, UCLA, and some of the local colleges in this area. And then I'm going to promote to the college alumni from those colleges to promote that product. This is another one right here. This is an event company called Flagship. And so they can hang these over events, whether they be weddings or promotional products or auto shows, or you can put your branding on these now. They're really intended for backyards, for putting
for parties and things like that.
Graduation parties, Mother's Day is coming up.
Yeah.
Stringlightcovers.com.
So, Sean, you are so passionate about products. You very easily shifted from your story to the products. But for me, really, this is very inspiring, because this is for also everybody to really see that, one of the biggest crises, financial meltdown, the whole monetary system was in crisis. They did everything. It was so close to Armageddon, if you listen to the financial people. And that's where you were, having laid off all 50 people. You're sitting in an empty office, and what you're thinking about is not, how am I going to do this? Instead, you're working on a product idea. And this is where you are today. To me, this is the biggest story, really. Your products are, of course, they are nice, but
back to the
strength.
Back to the original question is what do you do when the rug is pulled out from under you?
Yeah.
Right. How many times will a dog run into a swinging foot? Right.
Yeah.
The first time he didn't know any better. The second time he forgot. The third time he deserved it. So through the years, what I've done is develop very simple products. All of my products are very, very simple over the years, for when possibly everything took another dive, right?
Yeah.
March of 2020, what happened? COVID.
Yeah.
I was designing the F-150 front quarter panel for Ford in 2020. I was working on the 2024 F-150 front fender, designing it here remotely and COVID hit and I lost it. And I lost, again, my whole team. But in 2020, when everything crashed, I had been chipping away at my products. And when 2020 took a crash, I had, at the time, 4 or 5 products that I could instantly move my energy to. And then keep promoting them and working on them.
Yeah. So you diversified very well.
Right. And that's what I want to encourage people to do is if you're relying on one thing for everything forever and it gets taken out from under you, what are you going to do? How are you going to put food on the table?
Exactly. So this is great, Sean. So tell people how they can reach you. We'll obviously put the information on our website and also on YouTube. When the episode goes live, tell us about your contact information, how people can reach you.
Yeah, you can get a hold of me at Halpin Solutions. That's Halpin with an A.
Yeah.
Halpin with an A. HALPIN solutions.com. Mm-hmm. And you can read about me and my story, and you can go to Halpin Art and see my gallery of artwork that I've been working on through the years. I'm also an artist, and you can see Halpin products are the 6 very, very simple products that have inspired by something in my life to develop. And all of them are I've been able to pay for all of them to be developed out of my own pocket without any investors. And you'll see they're very simple.
Great. Thank you, Sean. This has been inspiring for me, and it's making lemonade out of lemons. You are the ultimate example. So thank you for coming to the show.
Somehow I've been on my own payroll since 1995, and I'm motivated by fear of having to work for somebody else.
That's a great fear to have. Thank you again. And that brings us to the end of another episode, and see you on the next one. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Be sure and subscribe, rate, and review our show. And be sure and share an episode with a friend. And thank you so much for being with us today. We'll see you next week here on Amazon Legends.